U.S. defense official says North Korea has launched at least one short-range projectile. Let's go to Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr with the latest. Barbara?
Hi, Amber. The information here at the Pentagon is very preliminary, and that's why they are not saying a lot about it. But the initial report, the initial assessment, indeed, is that North Korea fired at least one short-range projectile a short time ago. They are not able to say yet whether it's a ballistic missile, artillery, what kind of projectile it was, or whether there was more than one. They're not ready to make that announcement because they are still analyzing the intelligence that is coming in. It is being described to us as similar to the incident in May when North Korea did fire two short-range missiles. This will not be an event that will cause President Trump to have to publicly say, if he doesn't want to, that North Korea is back in the testing program. They're kind of below that radar of being a crisis. So it's apparently, by all accounts, a very particular move by Kim Jong-un to send a message. He can still test fire when he wants to, but he is not really thumbing his nose at the president. This, by all accounts at this point, is not a long-range missile, not a threat to the United States, not something that will have to cause President Trump to come out and disavow Kim's friendship that he talks about so much.
Mr. Vice President.
Vice President Biden.
I want to address Vice President Biden directly.
Under your plan, status quo, you do nothing to hold the insurance companies to task for what they have been doing to American families.
Anytime someone tells you you're going to get something good in 10 years, you should wonder why it takes 10 years.
It looks like one of us has learned the lessons of the past and one of us hasn't. Let me begin by telling you.
Middle ground solutions, like the Vice President has proposed, or sort of middling, average-sized things are not going to save us.
We have a system right now that's broken, and if you want to compare records, and frankly, I'm shocked that you do, I am happy to do that, because all of the problems that he is talking about, that he created.
Why did you announce in the first day a zero-tolerance policy of stop and frisk and hire Rudy Giuliani's guy in 2007 when I was trying to get rid of the crack cocaine disparity?
Mr. Vice President, there's a saying in my community, you're dipping into the Kool-Aid and you don't even know the flavor. You need to...
You didn't answer my question.
I wrote the Violence Against Women Act, Lilly Ledbetter. I was deeply involved in making sure the equal pay amendments. I was deeply involved in all these things. You came to Syracuse University with me and said it was wonderful. I'm passionate about the concern making sure women are treated equally. I don't know what's happened except that you're now running for president.
Vice President Biden, I didn't hear your response when the issue came up of all those deportations. You were Vice President of the United States. I didn't hear whether you tried to stop them or not.
The president came along, and he's the guy that came up with the idea, first time ever, of dealing with the Dreamers. He put that into the law.
I don't hear an answer from the Vice President. I'm confused. I asked the Vice President point blank, did he use his power to stop those deportations? He went right around the question. Mr. Vice President, you want to be President of the United States, you need to be able to answer the tough questions.
I keep my recommendations to him in private. Unlike you, I expect you would go ahead and say whatever was said privately with him. That's not what I do.
Mr. Vice President, you can't have it both ways. You invoke President Obama more than anybody in this campaign. You can't do it when it's convenient and then dodge it when it's not.
I love your affection for me. You spent a lot of time with me.
You know what?
Mr. Vice President, your argument is not with me, it's with science. And unfortunately, your plan is just too late.
Everybody's talking about how terrible I am on these issues. Barack Obama knew exactly who I was. He had 10 lawyers do a background check on everything about me on civil rights and civil liberties, and he chose me, and he said it was the best decision he made.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
I'll take his judgment.
Getting along with Russia would be a good thing, not a bad thing. And just about everybody agrees to that, except very stupid people.
The man has very strong control over a country. Now, it's a very different system, and I don't happen to like the system, but certainly in that system, he's been a leader. Should Putin be in the G7? I said, no, he should be in the G8. Putin's a killer. A lot of killers. We got a lot of killers. Why, you think our country's so innocent? He's done an amazing job. He's put himself really as, a lot of people would say he's put himself at the forefront of the world as a leader. I spoke indirectly and directly with President Putin, who could not have been nicer.
Have you had any dealings with the Russians?
Well, I've done a lot of business with the Russians.
They're commies, you know that.
Well,
They're commies.
Tough. They're smart and they're tough, and they're not looking so dumb right now, are they?
Well, it's Vladimir Putin. Have you ever met the guy?
Tough guy. I met him once. I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. I never met Putin. This is not my best friend. Well, I have no relationship with him other than he called me a genius. He said Donald Trump is a genius. He says great things about me. I'm going to say great things about him. Thank you. I had a call with President Putin and congratulated him on the victory, his electoral victory.
You respect Putin?
I do respect him.
Do you? Why?
President Obama wanted to get along with Russia, but the chemistry wasn't there. So I have great confidence in my intelligence people, but I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today. If Putin likes Donald Trump, guess what, folks? That's called